Now, back pain in horse riders, the incidence is quite high. I'm not quite sure what the figures are, but I certainly know back pain in the general public is now so common that some researchers are saying that it's actually normal. Now, there's no such thing as non-specific back pain. If you've been given a diagnosis of that, it basically says the person who diagnosed you has not got enough skills to clinically assess you. Not saying they don't have other skills, but they certainly don't have the skills in this. So when we look at the causes of back pain, there's quite a few features. We've got the bones, the vertebra, and they stack up on top of each other. There's ligaments and joint capsules and fibres that hold that together. We've got the joints that lock they sit on and interlock. They're called the facet joints. In between the body of the vertebra, we've got the discs, and the discs act as a shock absorber. Now, we have different diagnoses or different reasons for back pain at different age group. In the younger age group, under 25, the disc has much more elasticity and fluid nature, so it's much more resilient to taking a jarring or an impact. And this is normal. As we age, the fluid nature or the elasticity of that joint of the disc decays, and that's a normal age-related changes. So in the older age group, we may well have arthritic changes, again quite normal. We might have a loss, some people don't, a loss of the disc height. Now this changes the biomechanics in the whole area. Now as we age, we certainly adapt. At some point though, the resilience seems to be reached and we have an incident that causes back pain. Now that incident has a history that can be tracked back. So in diagnosing what is the back pain, we look at the history, we look at the person, we look at the activities, we look at the MRI, we look at their movement, we look at their goals, their personality, put the whole package together. Yes, treatment is addressing the pain, the swelling and the inflammation. Education is important, but then we move on to training the person correct stability and correct movement patterns for daily life, and further to that, specific to their sport. So I'll show you on my muscle map the chief structure that we look at is the transverse abdominal muscle. Now this muscle is the deepest in all of our muscle layers, and it runs sideways, and that's why it's called transverse abdominal muscle. Now one of the features of this muscle when we have pain is that this muscle, it's called an inhibition. So the muscle says, no, I'm not going to work. Now this is a natural phenomenon in our body. Now if you are not taught to say yes, so what I teach my patients is that that muscle has saying no, but your brain is going to say yes. So I teach people how, and I mean how, to engage that muscle on its own, independent of other muscles. Now we certainly put the patient in a position where they are no or minimal pain, because the no is very powerful. We train this muscle to activate, then we train it to hold through some movements, then we strengthen it, then we start to use it in daily life movement patterns. And again, going on to horse riding, we need very solid, strong function of this muscle to be able to hold the spine still. But then we bring in other muscles to move the spine. Now, just relating to the spine here. So our abdominal muscles, these are on top of the transverse. These also are stabilizing muscles, but they are dominant moving muscles. The transverse is static or isometric, it holds, whereas these muscles actually start to move us. Now the conflict comes when the deep core muscle doesn't hold the spine still, and these muscles then move the spine. So we get this many micro incidents of movement, and over time that's when we have I've had a back pain. So we've got our diagonal muscles, and they run from the outside to the inside and from the inside to the outside. We've also got our long six-pack or the rectus abdominal muscle. Now if we go to the back of the spine, we've got many contributing muscles to movement for horse riding, but we've also got a conflict again of how these muscles, if they don't have a stability base, how they move can alter. So that then alters the movement that you've got happening in your, say for your shoulder or your upper back. So many micros makes a macro, and all of a sudden you've got pain. You go to your doctor. If he's not skilled in diagnosing back pain, then you've got misinformation. If you see a physio or a massage therapist or a chiropractor, and this is not identified, then again the long-term chronic pattern is set up. So every single back pain needs to be assessed correctly. It certainly needs to be treated and respected, but the long-term outcome comes with training these stabilizing structures, then functional movement training, so that you learn to move absolutely correct, so that you don't return to those back pain states. So if you want further information on that, certainly give me a call.